Hey, howdy, howdy, nerd geeks! Ollie here, and today we're going to be delving into another first-person shooter in the 40k universe. But instead of running missions for various gangs from the Yunda of Necromunda, we're going to be stepping into some Holy Psyker Terminator armor as we explore some floating space debris and ruins in a game from one of Warhammer's most beloved sub-franchises. You guessed it, Space Hulk Deathwing. Enhanced Edition. But before we get into that, be sure to stick around until the end of the video as our channel's orc analyst, Dorka, recently made a discovery and is really excited as it pertains to our next video. With that said, it's time to prep your plasma cannons and make sure your apothecary is ready and healthy as we get ready to dive into the grim darkness of derelict Tyranid-infested space cruisers. Now let's jump into it. Now, I'm sure most of you are probably familiar with Space Hulk in some capacity, but just in case you're a heretic or something, this particular sub-franchise started in 1989 with a titular board game in which players took on either the role of a squad of Blood Angels Terminators as they investigate a mass of derelict ships, asteroids, and other debris collectively known as a Space Hulk, or the Tyranid gene stealers that have desecrated the sanctity of the once holy Imperium spacecraft by infesting them and devouring any life forms found aboard. Now, this sub-franchise has had many video game adaptations over its 35-year period, with the latest being the turn-based Space Hulk Tactics back in 2018. But its predecessor from just 2 years prior is the true standout in the overall sub-series. Deathwing really sets itself apart in a couple of ways. First, rather than starring the usually associated Blood Angels chapter, this story focuses on their First Legion cousins, the Dark Angels, as they investigate a Space Hulk that is discovered to include the pre-heresy cruiser Caliban's Will, one of their chapter's most legendary ships that had been lost on a mission 10,000 years prior. The other way this game sets itself apart is that it expands the gameplay beyond the simple maze-like corridors and features expansive cathedral-like rooms and dropship hangars, and moves more towards a true FPS featuring hordes of Tyranids and gene cultists that can swarm your squad at any given moment. This game also features a multiplayer aspect in which up to 3 players can work together to complete missions and search for relics and artifacts aboard the Xenos-infested derelict cruisers that make up this particular Space Hulk. But for the purposes of this video, we're going to focus on the single-player campaign. In this mode, you'll take on the role of an unnamed Dark Angels librarian Terminator tasked by First Company Grandmaster Belial with investigating the titular Space Hulk. You were joined by Weapons Specialist Brother Barakiel and Terminator Apothecary Brother Nahum. Over 9 chapters, your squad will venture into the ancient floating ruins, eliminate hordes of Tyranids that have made the giant debris chunk their home, and uncover the secrets behind the failed mission of the once-lost legendary ship, the Caliban's Will. As you investigate the derelict starships that comprise the giant floating mass of space junk, you'll also search for major and minor relics, which will increase your fervor and go toward upgrading your squad's armor and psyker abilities. Now all this sounds pretty cool, right? Well, it is. At least if you're a Space Hulk fan. Bonus points if you're a Dark Angels nerd. I'm a Blood Angels nerd myself, but that's arguably even worse. Now, the game itself plays as a bit of a mix between survival horror with a few jump scares and dark dilapidated corridors, and a true team horde fighter with swarms of Tyranids coming at you from every which way. There's also a decent amount of weaponry to choose from, which unlocks as you progress through the campaign. Unfortunately, while taking on the role of a Deathwing librarian of the Dark Angels and decimating Tyranids can be fun, that's one of the few aspects about this game that is. While the level design is quite eye-catching and fun to explore, the overall pacing of the game is quite slow, and the stamina meter for running drains rather quickly, at times forcing the game to seem like it slows to a snail's pace. There's also a major lack of any true boss fights, with the game having you fight multiple broodlords at various times instead. I also had several issues with the game momentarily freezing during my playthrough, although it never did fully crash. There was also an issue with some of the reload points, as a few times, if leaving it on the screen that says press X to continue, usually to take a drink or check something on the phone, enemies were already spawned and attacking, so I died immediately after hitting the button to continue. For these reasons, and despite my personal enjoyment stomping through some beautifully designed Space Hulk wreckage while slaughtering scores of hungry Xeno scum, This channel gives Space Hulk Deathwing a 4 out of 10. While I really wanted to give it a higher score, as it's an awesome experience becoming a Space Marine Terminator and taking on a massive brood of Tyranids, that's really all this game has going for it outside the level design. The gameplay quickly becomes repetitive, and combined with the already wicked slow pace, it is very much a slog to get through, and not with very much payoff. Also, there really aren't any cutscenes or character animations aside from the very beginning and the ending, which I won't spoil for you, but just be warned, it's very lackluster. Now, this doesn't mean there aren't players who would enjoy the experience, and I truly believe that Dark Angels fans and Astartes lovers in general can get a lot of enjoyment playing through this game. Unfortunately, for players who don't really fall into those categories, it's probably best to avoid this one. Now, if you found this video helpful or entertaining, please consider donating a like or subscribe to the channel, as each click will help send assistance to the survivors of Genestealer attacks. Well, actually to their families, as even survivors have to be incinerated in case of infection in order to prevent any possible Tyranid infestations from spreading. But that's just semantics. Also, don't forget to stick around for a quick teaser of our next video from our resident greenskin analyst. Thanks for watching, and may the Emperor guide your hand.
Alright, let's see what we got. We go to search and then I type in wherever. Okay, not bad. Alright, okay. Wait, what? Come on. Give it, come on. Yes!